Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, I forgot my ring. I should go. I don't even know how to take this off. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to chat with you guys today. Um, I'm in my hotel room. I am getting married next week, and so I am down in the South Bay, just finishing up some tasks that I need to finish up. I moved out of my apartment and moved in with my fiance, and so we're just trying to figure out, you know, all of the details and stuff like that. So I'm still down here, but I thought I heard this clip and I said, I'm gonna just talk about this. This is something that I've felt for a very long time and that I've seen for a very long time. It has irked my soul for a very long time. And so we're gonna talk about it. And what is that? So the title of today's video is The Long-Suffering Black Woman. And if you're not a Black woman, maybe this will just be enlightening to you. Maybe this will be, what is the word? Educational for you. And maybe it will help you to shed some light on your own biases. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start by defining the terms because I want to make sure that we are all under the same understanding of what long suffering is. So there are two terms, two sort of definitions that I want to review. The first term is sort of a colloquial definition, and so I'm going to read it here to you. Having or showing patience in spite of troubles, especially those caused by other people. And the example is his long-suffering wife. How fitting. The other example of long-suffering is actually from the Bible, and this is where most people understand the term long-suffering. It's a Christian term. And that's to no surprise because a lot of Black people and Black women identify with Christianity. And so this term is often associated with Jesus. It's often associated with, and God is long suffering, God is patient. And a lot of times this quality is deemed to be, holy in a manipulative way. But we're going to talk about it. So, while the Bible doesn't have a definition of long suffering, what we have here is some different sort of ideas around it. I'm going to just go ahead and read those to you. God is he's long suffering. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some count as slackness, but is long suffering towards us, not willing that anyone should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So in this sentence, he is patient and he waits and waits and waits and waits and waits and gives us chance after chance after chance after chance to come to him. Right. And so that is an example of a long-suffering God, a God who is super patient and lets you make mistakes and eventually you come to him. So the reason why I titled this film The Long-Suffering Black Woman is because for the longest time in my life, all depictions of Black women that I've seen in most television shows have been that of long-suffering women. And every single video that Tyler Perry has made has the long-suffering Black woman. What does that mean? What that means is Tyler Perry, along with the media, has normalized the idea that Black women must suffer in relationships. They must be patient in relationships. That often looks like waiting for a man to come to his full potential and praising him and being a cheerleader and being his mama and like seeking him through all of his troubles, and finally on the other end he is almost a provider and almost a protector, but he's good enough for her. That's most particularly Tyler Perry. And I have some examples of that for you guys, so I will pull those up. I'm actually not sure how to share the screen on this one because I'm using YouTube's live, so I'm not really sure how to do that. I should have used StreamYard, but I'll let you listen to some of the sounds. So the first thing I want to do is I want you guys to listen to this clip of Tyler Perry, and he is explaining how I don't know if he says Black women in particular, but he's explaining how women should be acceptable or should accept men who can only pay the light bill, Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up for you. Listen. So let me have you listen to that again. Okay, so that's the first part. The first part is Tyler Perry says that Black women are making a lot more money than Black men. That is a fact. We know that Black women are, in general, higher paid than Black men. People will deny the statistics all they want, but they are. Black women also are one of the fastest growing rates of entrepreneurs and people who are college educated in the United States. So that what that means, not always exactly correlated, but typically what that means is if you have a higher education, you make more money. That's just a fact. We know this. We can see it with our own eyes. Okay, so that we're not going to argue with that fact. And then he needs to say, and she needs to be comfortable. If a man says, "Hey, I can only pay the light bill," then she needs to be comfortable with that's okay. So here's where we need to discuss long suffering Black women. For many years, many centuries, animals have always mated, female animals have always mated for provision and protection, always. And in every other culture, provision and protection is something that women are expected to seek in a mate. I would say most cultures. The Black community, a lot of Black women have heard this messaging since youth, which is a piece of man is better than no man at all. Never mind his ability to provide. Never mind his ability to protect. Never mind his ambition. Accept what he can give you. So there's two things that I want to talk about. The first thing is that if a man can only pay a light bill, the disparity between paying a light bill and me having a college education and being making six figures a year, or me even making 50,000 a year as a secretary or as an assistant, a virtual assistant, the gap is too big. It's too big. Healthy men never want to be that far in disparity from their spouse. Healthy men are okay, maybe a little bit of disparity, but that disparity signifies that there is a lack of ambition. It also signifies that there might be something going on psychologically or cognitively. The only thing you can do is get a job paying for the light bill. I would have some concerns if, I'm 25, 30 as a man and seeing this man who can only pay a light bill. Light bills are at the most 30, $40. If that's all you can afford, so then maybe we need to ask ourselves if this man has the education, the cognitive ability, the psychological mind frame to even be better. Because if he doesn't, that's a dangerous situation for a woman. And it's really foolish. Now, I will admit that I think this is hyperbole. I believe this is hyperbole. Unfortunately, many Black women find themselves in this situation where they are dating someone who is that gap is massive. It is massive, and it shouldn't be, right? I'm going to go ahead and say that there's a huge difference between dating someone who makes $20,000 a year versus dating someone who makes $80,000 a year, right? That's just cognitively the kind of person that is able to make that kind of money does require a certain level of intelligence. It requires a certain level of maturity. It requires a certain level of ambition. It requires a certain level of discipline. And so while we like to pretend in the Black community, particularly Tyler Perry and his kind, I'm going to show you some examples from his videos that black women are just "Oh, you need to make your 6 figures." There are women out there who are saying that. But here's the thing. If I'm someone who enjoys reading, I'm someone who has an extensive vocabulary, if I'm someone who's cultured, if I'm someone who's in circles with certain kinds of people, I need my partner to be able to come with me, okay? If he can't, then that's a problem, right? If he can't hang in the if he can't have the same conversations that I can have, then there's really not a connection there. And for many years, we've convinced women, Black women particularly, that that's okay. And that what we're really telling them is to settle for subpar connection and subpar relationships. Is it possible to have a relationship with someone who makes less money than you? A good one? Yes. There are plenty of women I know who were, they make 6 figures, their spouse makes like 80 or 70, whatever, perfectly fine job, well educated, because it's really not about the money. But I think when you're in a community that is anti-intellectual and doesn't really want to take the nuances of these issues, it can be reduced to simply money. And this is not a money issue. This is an ambition issue, a discipline issue, a self-care issue, a psychological issue. Again, I will say this yet again. If a man can only pay a light bill, that means he can't even take care of himself. You at that point as a woman are acting as a mother, right? You're acting as a mother. And so is it then we have to ask ourselves the question, is it wise then for a woman to take on the role of a mother of a grown man? Like what will that do to his psyche? What will that do to his masculinity? And the kind of men who are okay with that, we have to ask ourselves, what's wrong with you? Okay. Um, so where does long suffering come in? I'm so glad you asked. I want to play you a clip from a few of Tyler Perry's movies. I'm going to have you just listen to them, um, and notice how they sort of they use the term brainwash, how they subtly promote this idea of role reversal, which means women take care of men, and that's natural. Where in the animal kingdom, that has never been normal. And in every other culture, you are deemed as an unworthy man if you can provide the basics for a woman. No one's saying you have to provide her with Gucci bags, Chanel bags, Louis Vuitton shoes, trips around the world. Do some women expect that? Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. But provision means, can you pay this mortgage? You pay mortgage. That's the problem. If you can't even pay your own rent and you need me to support you, now I'm playing the role of mother. I'm not playing the role of partner. Do you see what I mean? And this is where they get you guys because they play these word games, they play this reductionist game, and they hyperbolize when the reality is most women are not dating men. Most women are saying no to men who are paying the light bill, who are just paying the light bill because that's a smart thing to do. Any woman in her right mind would never say, "Oh, I think I'll just marry someone who can barely pay his own rent." That means I'm marrying someone who is cognitively, emotionally, and psychologically at a level that requires some sort of specialized care at 35 years old or 20 years old, 25 years old. That person probably needs some specialized level of care because typically at that age, if you are doing what you're supposed to do, you do have the skills and ability to make a little more money. So let me see where I can find this. Okay, so this first clip that I want you to listen to is from the movie Acrimony, and I want you to notice this is Taraji Henson, and she's speaking to her partner, husband, whatever. And I want you to notice the narrative that she is spewing, how it relates to women, Black women being long suffering. So just listen to what she says and think about how they promote the idea of long suffering, particularly Tyler Perry promotes the idea of long suffering in his films. Okay, so let's just take a listen. So Taraji P. Henson, that's her. She says, "I would do anything when you lied to me and you cheated on me." And she, without fail, like very many Black women, are conditioned to hang around and stick around while someone cheats on them and lies on them and is long suffering and is just super patient. And these people don't have to have any sense of remorse. And I think this is why I get so particularly upset with this is because the term long suffering in the Bible actually requires grace and patience. And it actually, at some point, we repent, right? At some point, we change. Black women are trained to be long suffering even when no one wants to change. They're trained to be long suffering regardless. This man doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to even try. He doesn't even have to do anything. He doesn't have to do anything special. He doesn't have to repent. He doesn't have to say, I'm sorry. You just keep being long suffering and you hold on as long as you can. And at this point in the movie, she's given up. She's tired. But Black women are expected to be long suffering. We are expected to be endlessly patient, endlessly forgiving, endlessly accepting of subpar men, subpar treatment, subpar relationships. And it's, if you watch Tyler Perry's movies, it's evident. It is evident. If you look at even The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. So on the surface, you guys, on the surface, what you're seeing is, oh, she was so forgiving and she took care of that man and he was shot and he had cheated on her and she still took care of him. There's the long suffering. There's long suffering that is promoted to Black women. You stay with that man, you do that and it's, and because long suffering, again, the term is biblical, and it's associated with Jesus, it's associated with the fruit of the spirit, it's highly manipulative. The way the community promotes this as if we're being Christ-like, because that's the real gag. Like that's what people are not understanding. There's a spiritual component to this where Black women are expected to long suffer until these men come around, which a lot of them never do. We're supposed to long suffer through marriages and relationships where men are barely, like Tyler Perry said, paying the light bill. You can't pay the mortgage. You want me to stick around while you pay the light bill? And then I will then go out in the community and suffer and then come home and raise children? That's abuse. That's abuse. And so we have to be careful falling into that trap of being, oh, I'm so patient. Oh, I'm so forgiving. Oh, I'm so loving. Oh, I'm so resilient. That's the trope that is promoted to us. Women of other communities are not taught, and then no one has to explicitly say it. It's just understood that you don't need to do that. I think I told you guys this before. I was walking on the track at the school. The neighborhood that I live in, the homes sell for no less than 1.2 million. Okay, no less. They're probably now 1.8 because that was like a couple years ago. Okay, and these two ladies were walking on the track. They were white. The one lady was telling her daughter, this other lady, she goes, "Yeah, my daughter's dating this guy, and he said he wouldn't take her to a steak dinner." And I said to her, "What are you doing dating this guy?" And you know, the first thing I thought to myself was that would never happen in a lot of communities. That would never happen because, well, so what if he can't take you to a steak dinner? You asking for too much. And this woman was like, "What are you doing? He can't take you to a steak dinner. There's something wrong with that. Like, that's a normal thing." It was almost like, well, duh, he should take you to a steak dinner. Like, why would he? But the disgust, the the um the disgust that they had of this man not wanting to take her daughter to a steak dinner told me everything I need to know about the conditioning of different women. Even if you look at the Middle Eastern community, right? Middle Eastern Indian community, nobody's going around telling their daughters to date a man. Oh, no. Trouble with the stream. Okay. Darn it. I think I moved to a different I'll move to my other platform. Can you hear me okay, you guys? Oh, this is so good. Okay, I'm gonna get off and go on my phone.